everybody, and welcome to the Rafi and Derrick Show. If you like our interviews, please visit our website, rafiandderrick.com, and visit our photo and video gallery. Today we're here with
Amy,
who does
animal care for the education collection at the North Carolina Zoo.
What kind of animals do you work with?
We have a couple of birds. We have a red-tailed hawk and a barred owl. We also have prairie dogs and hedgehogs. And then we have a few creepy crawlies. We've got some amphibians, some turtles, some snakes, a little bit of everything for everyone who comes out.
So what do you do with them?
So my main job is to clean up after them and feed them, but then another big part of having the ambassadors here with us is to get them used to being around people and to train them to make sure that they're healthy and safe and confident with being around people, because if you've seen in this area, there's lots of kids running around. So we want the animals to feel safe when they come out here so that they can engage with the kids and that the kids can have that bond to bring them closer to nature through animal interactions.
And how is that going?
It's pretty good. We are pretty much ready for the season. A lot of our ambassadors that are coming out this year are some longtime veterans, so they're used to coming out to this area. And we have a couple of new animals that are just warming up and getting used to everyone, so it'll be a slow start to a season for them, but so far everyone's good.
Do you ever walk the animals around?
So the animals, they don't really walk around, but I can walk around with an animal. So like our barred owl or our red-tailed hawk, they'll perch on a glove, they stand on our glove, and then we can walk around different spaces to interact with different groups of people.
How long did you work here?
I've been here about 7 years.
Do the new animals ever get scared when they come out for the first time?
They do, and that's part of our job here, is to be able to read their body language and their signs of stress. So if they are scared, we can kind of back it up a little bit. It's not really safe for me to work with a scared animal because I could get hurt, and it's also not good for the mental health and the well-being of that animal to be constantly put in scary situations. So I want to really ease the animal into it and take little baby steps so that they feel confident in where they're going. So yeah, if they're scared, we'll end the encounter, we end the session, and we kind of start over with baby steps again until they're not scared.
For the last 7 years that you worked here, do you still have the same job?
Yes, I started out as a seasonal, so I worked a few years in this department as a seasonal, and then I became permanent full-time, but in the same department.
Are there ever any animals that you can't get not to get scared?
Yeah, so we want to evaluate each animal and its ability to work with our department and our situations. And yeah, there are animals that aren't the best fit for the program, so then we'll move them. They can live on exhibit where maybe they don't have to be so close to people and they have their own personal space, or they may even go live in another facility where they're a little more comfortable. So we kind of let our animals lead the way in making decisions and letting us know what's the right spot for them.
Have you always wanted to work with animals?
I have. So ever since I was little, I've always been very into animals, grew up in a household full of animals. So when I first started going to college, I started out with just kind of like a generic biology degree because I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to work with animals, because there's lots of different ways. It's not just a zookeeper field. You could be a veterinarian, you could be a vet tech, you could do nutrition and diets. There's lots of different things that have to do with animals. You could work like in a horse stable, different things like that. So I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. And then through spending a few years in college, I decided I probably wanted to be a zookeeper. And so I specified my degree to be more zoo-oriented and ended up here, and this is pretty much all I've ever wanted to do.
What is your newest animal?
Our most recent animal is, I think it's our hedgehogs. So we got 3 hedgehogs in, and they're some of our newest ambassadors. They're the ones we're kind of warming up this season. They've done a couple birthday parties here and there, a couple of encounters. I think they've gone to visit a school or so, but they're our newest ones out.
What's your oldest?
I think it might be Tara, our barred owl.
Oh, the one who
Yeah, I think you might have saw her earlier.
What was the biggest animal you ever worked with?
The largest animal that we've had here, I think, was a giant Flemish rabbit. and he was like maybe 15 or 16 pounds. Most of our animals are a little smaller. We did have a snake one time, a Macklot's python. It was a female, and I think she was close to 20 pounds.
Has there ever been like an emergency where you work, like an animal getting hurt or something?
Yeah, like our animals have gotten hurt. That's part of being an animal. Typically, like there's some normal play behaviors, like siblings might play a little bit too rough and things like that. It's not an emergency, but we do kind of treat it like an emergency. So we just want to hurry up and get the animal healthy and healed and in the best position. In my department, we've never had any escapes or any like life-threatening serious emergencies.
What was the smallest animal you worked with?
Well, we have some cockroaches and millipedes, so I'm gonna guess those are probably some of our smallest ones.
Have you ever been afraid of a new animal that's come here?
I've been a little hesitant, I wouldn't say afraid, but whenever we get new snake into the collection, you gotta learn its behavior and its position and you know how it responds. So when we get new snakes in, I'm just a little bit hesitant in how I approach it, just because I don't want it to be afraid of me. So I want to go slowly with it. Not really afraid, but just cautious.
Where did most of the animals, did most of the animals come from hospitals?
So some of our animals did come from our wildlife rehab center. So it's a place where anyone can take injured or orphaned native wildlife that needs human help to get better. Our number one goal is to get that animal back out into the wild, but unfortunately sometimes they just don't pass that test and they're not going to be a good candidate to go live in the wild. So they stay here with us. Then we'll evaluate them to see if they're a good fit for our education department. So that is where our owl and our hawk came from. They did not meet the criteria to be released into the wild, so that's why they stay here with us. And then some of our other animals came from other zoos. So when the zoo collection might be that animals have babies and there's not enough space for them, and they try to find them a home where there is space, or just maybe some animals aren't getting along anymore and they need to separate the animals and move them to another department. So some of our animals came from other departments within the zoo, and some of our animals actually came from other zoos.
What is the criteria to be released back into the wild?
So they have to be able to hunt successfully enough to sustain themselves. So it's kind of like in the course of a couple of weeks, they do like a test. So we know in the wild that a wild animal is not going to be successful every day in eating. So there are some animals that might go 3 and 4 days without having dinner. So what they do over a course of time is they will release live food, and then they give them an average score at the end of that. So we know you're not going to catch food every day, but maybe at least 1 of 5 days you need to be able to catch food, or 2 of 7, whatever the criteria for that specific species is. And if they were successful in catching them, then we know that they will be able to survive good in the wild. If they didn't catch any at all, then we know they probably won't survive in the wild.
Are you one of the main staffs that work here?
So each department in the zoo has a rotation of staff. My department here in the education animal area, we have 2 full-time staff, and then we have 1 seasonal. So I'm one of the full-time, and then there's another full-time coworker. And then we also have our education department, where we have a handful of full-time staff and a whole bunch of seasonals, and some of our educators can come down here and help work with the animals as well.
How can people get in contact with you?
So on our website, it's under the education department. We have our different sections. So depending on what you want to get in contact for, you want to go to that section. So nczoo.org and click on education. And then if you're interested in Kids Zone or nature play activities, you want to go to like the nature play section. That's this section here. But if you're interested in like birthday parties, that's a different person. So you click on birthday parties under education. If you're interested in our school programs and stuff like that, all that contact is on there as well. So you just go to education and pick which department you're interested in.
In your own words, what advice would you give the kids?
To get outside more and enjoy this beautiful weather and enjoy nature and appreciate it, but respect it and don't destroy it. But just to spend more time outside, I think it's better for your mind and your body to get out more.
That's it for today, guys. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and like. And if you want to become a sponsor, go to our website, rockyderrickshow.com. Goodbye.